Hello world, I'm Connor Brad from Beyond here with a quick guide on how to get started with the Thousand Sons in Dawn of War Unification Mod. This is part 1, which will cover the first tier, and at the end, part 2 will be linked. Now, we're going to talk about some of their units and strategies, but first I would like to go over just kind of their overall playstyle, which for Thousand Sons is all about kind of flexibility. They don't focus on any one particular tier strength, so like, it's not, oh, I need to defend until the late game, or, oh, I need to be really strong in tier 1 or I'll lose. They can be flexible, just kind of based on the opponent, or just the overall strategy of the person. They also don't overly focus on any particular one way of fighting, so like, they have some things that are hit and run, but not everything is tuned to hit and run. They have some things that are tanky, but not everything has to be, which is very fun to me, because you have lots of different tools, but it can be a bit difficult to manage, plus with all of their spells, makes them pretty micro-intensive, but if you can do it well, they can be very strong. Now, there are 4 main units that we're going to cover. I would like to give an honorable mention to Tzeentch cultists. They can infiltrate very quickly, which allows for some good cheese strategies. The Laughing Max actually did a video on that, and I will have it linked and recommend watching it because it's pretty cool. But other than that cheese, they're not super useful. Sorry. Anyway, so, of the 4 units, we first have these guys, the Thrall Wizards. Find the button. There you go. These are your builders and your cappers, other than the Tzeentch cultists, as I mentioned previously. I didn't mention that they can cap, but they are your only 2 capping units. However, the Thrall Wizards, as you may have noticed, are like the Dark Eldar Tortured Slaves or Chaos Demons Lost Souls, in that when they set a building to build, it builds itself and they can walk away. This allows you to get some economy really quickly, because you can use the Thrall Wizards to cap. Once the point is yours, drop a Silver Spire to start building, and then move on. So you can just get your listening posts up very quickly if you pay attention to them. In Tier 2, when you have the Dark Library, which is your armor equivalent, you gain a Bolt of Change spell, which does damage against buildings and vehicles, and reduces the defense temporarily, as well as your Thrall Wizard leader, who does a bunch of anti-defense. Next, we have the Sorcerer Lord, who you can see here is fighting the Chaos Lord, who is known to be one of the stronger heroes due to this Hellblade doing lots of damage. However, you will notice that the Sorcerer Lord will win this, most likely. I think occasionally the Chaos Lord wins, but this does not appear to be one of those times. Yeah, he's down. And that is because the Chaos Lord, while being himself actually somewhat fragile, he is armed with the Bedlam Staff, which has very good damage and, more importantly, a very high stun chance. So, even though the Chaos Lord has a super strong sword, a lot of time he doesn't even get to swing it because he's busy being stunned, making the Sorcerer Lord very good in 1v1 combats, though he will struggle against multiple enemies. Additionally, he's armed with a bunch of spells. He starts with Doom Bolt, and additionally can pick 3 different specializations. Illusionist lets you do shenanigans like turning invisible or making enemies attack each other. Summoner lets you summon monsters, and then Warlock has kind of attack spells. My personal favorite is the Summoner, because you can get the Warp Spawn, who's a very good damage sponge and has pretty decent damage at the cost of speed. But the other summonings are perfectly viable and useful. So next, we actually will have a branching path. Technically, you can get both buildings, as I've done here. They don't exclude each other. However, if you're not on quick start like we are, they will mess with your economy if you try and go for both, because it's just too expensive and doesn't give you enough bonus of having both. So it is generally best to go with one. You have either the Demon Gate, which lets you get Screamers of Tzeentch, or you can go the Warp Gate, which lets you get Rubric Marines. We're going to go over Screamers first. These guys are very fast, and they have very high damage. However, they have low health, and they have very low morale. They're very strong in the early game for harassment. So we can, once we have a jump, I can show there will be a listing post here that we can show how quickly you can take it down compared to likely the Rubric Marines. However, as good as these are early on, you have to do a lot of damage with them to be competitive because they have issues scaling. They don't get as many upgrades as the alternative over here, which is the Rubric Marines. Rubric Marines are very slow and very tanky, as opposite of the Screamers. They are morale immune, in contrast, again, to these guys being very morale vulnerable. And they start with very low accuracy, however this is improved with scaling amongst other things, including their speed and their tankiness even further. So Rubric Marines will struggle a little bit, especially before you get the Dark Library, which unlocks the Aspiring Sorcerer, who grants a bunch of bonuses that I'll go over. But if you can survive the super early game with Rubric Marines, you will do quite well. Alright, so let's actually head over here with the Screamers. We're going to show off a few matchups. We're fighting Chaos. I have my friend Craig over here. So first, we have 4 Chaos Marines and an Aspiring Champion versus 5 Screamers. And the Screamers are going to very quickly win this fight because they can just close into melee. So even though they're actually taking a decent amount of damage and likely lose a model or two, these Chaos Marines don't stand a chance. I forgot to mention the Screamers also do a good amount of morale damage. And hey, we didn't lose any models. Alright, so we head over here, see if we can regenerate a bit before we're going to show off how to fight Raptors. Now, as a comparison, the Rubric Marines, if we get the Aspiring Sorcerer, should also win. Actually, let's show off without the Aspiring Sorcerer first. And then we'll show with the Aspiring Sorcerer. Alright, we can just bring in these guys instead because we're full health. So, because we have low accuracy but tankiness, this battle's probably going to take a while. I believe we come out on top, but I'm actually not entirely sure, especially since they do have an Aspiring Champion. So, we will see a little bit of science. Just get a little bit closer so we can actually have all the people shooting. There you go. So let's see. They've lost like 100 health, whereas we've already lost a third of our people. Yeah, so we lose this pretty badly. As a comparison, not you, you. Let's see how you do against Raptors. Yeah, we've lost pretty badly. We almost killed like a model and a half. Once we had the Aspiring Sorcerer in here, that'll do better. In the meantime, the Raptors are, I'm trying to select them, are out of morale. We did lose 2 models, and I think we're going to lose that one, where they have not lost any models yet. However, especially with the no morale, yeah, they don't have any hope.
I have looked long into the sea of soul.
Get a little bit closer. You'll notice they're a little bit faster. That is one of the bonuses granted by the Aspiring Champion. He grants a bit of speed. He grants the Doom Bolt, as I just showed, which acts as a greater grenade, basically. And he grants a very large accuracy bonus, because the Rubric Marines start with incredibly low accuracy. So they do basically no damage until you get the Aspiring Champion. However, now that we have that, you can see we're at even numbers, but they were about to lose 2 models. That guy's about to go down. There we go. So yeah, we win this pretty handily. They are, however, about to walk in the Raptors as soon as this guy goes down. Yes. Just hit them. Alright, we can compare how these guys do. Whilst we're waiting on that, There are 2 upgrades, one for each path, that I would like to bring to attention. If you go for the demon path, you can get, once you have the Dark Library, you can get demonic manifestations. Now this grants some HP to your screamers, which is pretty desperately needed because of how low the HP is already. If you don't want to be bleeding money, you need demonic manifestations. And by the way, might I mention, that is an excellent name. Just, it gives the like kind of mysterious vibes that we're looking for. In a similar vein, once you have the Dark Library for Rubric Path, you can get Runic Armor, which does basically the same thing. The difference is Rubric Marines are already very tanky, so you might think it's not as needed, but this provides like 40% HP boost, so your Rubrics become not quite immortal, but very hard to kill. I might also bring up, there are Sorcerer's Wards, which also improves health, but it's for the Thrall Wizards, for the Sorcerer Lord, and for aspiring sorcerers, which is pretty useful. The Sorcerer Lord has pretty low health, so if you can improve that, that's good. Thrall Wizards also have very low health, but are very useful, so if you can heal them, good. So this is even probably worth it for Demon Path. But then especially, I don't think the Aspiring Sorcerer has particularly low health. However, he is very important because he grants the Doom Bolts and the accuracy and everything. And so losing him is pretty painful. So we can head in here, and we're going to lose against the Raptors just on the basis of the fact that we are not melee troops, and they are. If we were in a firefight with the Raptors, we would very easily win. However, such is not the case. We can throw them a bit, at least. But, yeah, that's just not ideal. That is about everything, though, so I hope you found this useful to start up, and I will, of course, be linking the part 2, which will cover Tier 2. I'm probably not gonna do Tier 3 or 4, just because if you need a guide for the entire faction, you've got, like, the Laughing Max has done very good ones. These are just to kind of get started playing them, and then, or even, not even if you don't want to play them, just to kind of know your enemy and how they start out. But again, if you want a deep dive, I recommend Max's video. But I hope that this was useful, get you excited to maybe try and play them, or just helped to know how they start. But yeah, that is all. Bye.